we're talking about surface area of a cylinder, then has anyone ever peeled off, like if you had like a can of green beans, has anyone ever peeled off the label from a can of green beans or a can of something else? What's the shape of it when you, of that piece that you pull off, the shape of the label? Caleb. Well, it's flat then, but what is the shape? Is it a triangle? Is it a... Okay, Matthew. Alright, so when you pull off the label is no longer a cylinder because the label is not three-dimensional. A cylinder is three-dimensional, right? When you peel off the label, it's just like a piece of paper then, right? So what is the shape of that when you pull it off? I'm not asking if you tape it. I'm asking you pull it off and it's all in one piece. So it is a rectangle when you lay that piece of paper, that label, flat. If you look over there, kind of behind Talia, where it has the cylinder on the board, it looks kind of like a candy cane with the stripes, you can see the net of a cylinder. So you have the circle on top, you have the rectangle in the middle, and then you have a circle on the bottom. Okay? So that is what a net of a cylinder looks like. If I were to put this all together, again, the circle on top, the rectangle that would wrap around the cylinder, and then the circle on the bottom. So when we're finding surface area, we have to find the area of all three things. Now, the area of a circle, the area of this circle would be the same as the bottom circle. So that makes it a little bit easier. Okay? The hard part is finding the area of this rectangle. Now, area of a rectangle is normally length times width, but they're not always just going to give you the piece that is right here. The piece that is right there is the distance around the circle. What is that called, the distance around a circle? It's like perimeter, but it's called circumference. So the circumference of the circle times the height of the cylinder. Okay? Alright, so let's start doing this. I'm going to give you a picture of a cylinder. So to start with, I kind of draw an oval like that. Then I draw straight down. Then I'm going to make my bottom kind of curved. I'm going to do a little dotted line back there. So that's how you would draw a cylinder. Don't worry if your picture is not great. And I'm going to show on the top part of my circle, from the center of the circle to an outside edge is going to be 7 meters. And from the top of the cylinder to the bottom of the cylinder is going to be 21 meters. So the very first thing, we're going to be writing steps, okay, in our notes, because that's then going to help us with everything else. We'll know exactly what to do. The very first thing that I'd like us all to do is I want us to identify the radius and the height. Identify radius and height. Because those are the two numbers that we need to use in our formulas. So in this cylinder, what is the radius? 7, and the height is 21. So we would need to be very careful if they gave us the diameter. If they gave us the diameter, how would we find the radius? Divide it by 2. Take half of it. Very good. All right, now that we've identified our parts, we're going to, step 2, is find the area of the circle. Now we said that a cylinder has a circle on top and a circle on bottom, but they're exactly the same. So we're just going to start by finding the area of one of those. So we've practiced area of a circle formula. It's pi r squared. We know, okay, I'll pause. All right, we know that pi is what? 3.14. And we identified r, our radius, which is 7. So 7 squared. What do I do first? Multiply by pi or do 7 squared? 7 squared. And what does 7 squared mean? It is 49. 7 times 7 is 49. So you have a calculator. 3.14 times 49 is what, Edwin? Correct. Now again, that is the area of one of my circles. So let's say the top circle is 153.86. Well, the bottom circle would also be the same. Bottom circle, 153.86. Now the other thing that we need to find is the rectangle. Okay, so that's going to be our third step. I need to slow down for a second. Alright, so again, normally the area of a rectangle is length times width, but they don't give us both of those measurements. They give us the radius and the height. So we talked about on this slide that we're going to use the circumference of the circle, which we know how to find, times the height of the cylinder. So when we're doing step 3, the area of the rectangle again, step 3 is area of a rectangle. The area is going to be the circumference, which is 2 pi r, that's the circumference, times the height, which would just be h. Okay, so that's the formula that we're going to use to find the area of the rectangle. And we know what r is, we know what h is, we know what pi is. So it's going to be 2 times pi, 3.14, times the radius, which is 7, and times the height, which was 21. So we're going to put all 4 numbers into the calculator. 923.16. And that, again, is the area of the rectangle. So we have the area of the top circle, area of the bottom circle, area of the rectangle. What do you think we need to do? Now that we have the area of all 3 pieces, we're going to add them up. That's how we find surface area. So we're going to, step 4 is add up areas. So we're going to add those 3 numbers. Now if I were you, I would do 153.86 times 2, since I have 2 of them, plus 923.16. And that's the surface area. So we identify the parts, step 1. We find the area of one of the circles. But we know that we have a top circle and a bottom circle, so I wrote that area down twice. I find the area of the rectangle by doing the circumference of the circle times the height of the cylinder, which that formula is right there. I plug in, substitute all the things that I know. Get my area of the rectangle, and then add all 3 areas together. Okay? So we're going to try one more of these together, and then you'll have, I have an example on your assignment. It's not this exact example, but I have all of the steps, and then I have 3 of them for you to try on your own. Number 1, I kind of have set up for you. Number 2, a little bit less help, and then number 3, no help. Madison. There will only be 3 cylinders on your assignment. Oh, you mean this right here? There will only be 3 areas, yes, because we have 1, 2, 3 faces in this shape. That's why there's 3 areas, okay? All right, let me go ahead and let you get started on your